Ever found yourself in the middle of an argument and thought, wait, why are we even fighting about this? Maybe the fight started over the dishes, or a calendar miscommunication, or even someone spending too much or too little money. But underneath that surface level frustration, something deeper is happening. Because in relationships, we're rarely just arguing about the chores or dinner budgets. We're bumping up against emotional triggers, buried fears, unmet needs, and past experiences that suddenly feel very present. And some of the most common triggers, they tend to revolve around work, sex, money, and food. So let's break those down and talk about how to handle them with compassion, curiosity, and clarity. Hi, I'm Morgan Bougourd, a couples and sex therapist at the Center for Intimacy, Connection, and Change. We help individuals and couples untangle the messy, complicated aspects of relationship, like communication breakdowns, intimacy struggles, and conflicts that feel like they never really end. And one of the most misunderstood parts of relationship conflict, that would be triggers. People often think that they are overreacting, or worse, they believe that their partner is the problem. But the truth is, triggers are stories your nervous system remembers, and those stories deserve to be heard, not shoved aside. So why do those 4 areas I mentioned, work, sex, money, food, spark such a big emotional reaction from people? And how can you start talking about relationship triggers in a way that brings you closer? Let's begin by asking, what exactly is a relationship trigger? Well, it is an intense emotional reaction to something that may seem small on the surface, but taps into something much deeper, a much deeper wound. That wound might come from past trauma, attachment experiences, unmet needs from childhood, or even a previous relationship. Triggers are not about being too sensitive. They're about being human. So when you're triggered, your brain and body go into kind of a protection mode. You may feel anxious, angry, shut down, or disconnected. You might lash out or retreat completely. The key is learning to recognize your trigger without making your partner the enemy. So now let's talk about why work, sex, money, and food tend to create the biggest blow-ups. Starting with work. Well, work is tied to identity, purpose, and security. And when one partner feels overwhelmed by work or unavailable due to stress, the other might feel abandoned. It can trigger old stories, such as, I don't matter, or I'm not supported. Let's move into sex. This part of the relationship often brings up deeper fears about rejection, worthiness, and emotional connection. Low desire, mismatched libidos, or feeling pressured can activate shame or the fear that they're not wanted. And this is especially true when past sexual trauma is part of the picture. Then we have money. Money is never just about numbers. It's about safety, control, freedom, and value. Arguments about spending or saving often tap into deeper anxieties, such as, will you take care of me? Do you respect my choices? Are we in this together? And lastly, food can be a stand-in for care, comfort, control, or even rebellion. Disagreements around eating habits, body image, or mealtime routines may reflect unspoken needs or past hurts, especially for those who've struggled with body shame or food insecurity. So when these topics surface, it's not just about logistics. It's about how each partner feels seen, safe, and supported. Let's take a closer look at how past trauma can affect present-day reactions. Many relationship triggers are echoes of earlier experiences. If you had caregivers who were unpredictable, critical, or emotionally absent, your system may now respond to present-day moments as if those old wounds are being reopened. You might feel abandoned when your partner is just busy. You might feel rejected when your partner is just tired. And this isn't about blame. It's about understanding that your body remembers. Recognizing these patterns isn't a weakness. It's actually the beginning of healing. So now you might be wondering, how do we talk about triggers without escalating into another argument? Here's where most couples get stuck. One person gets triggered, the other feels attacked, and now both people are defending themselves instead of listening. So what can you do differently? Start with ownership. You could say something like, I noticed I got activated just now, and I think it has more to do with my history than with what you meant. Or maybe you could say, when you brought up money, I felt like I was being judged, even though I know you didn't say that. Then try using gentle curiosity. Ask questions like, what were you feeling in that moment? What did that remind you of? What did you need from me that you didn't get? These kinds of conversations help turn conflict into connection. And when it comes to repairing the relationship after a fight, it's important to remember that both partners usually feel raw. This is not the time to assign blame or try to prove your point. Instead, ask each other questions like, what happened just now? What were we just fighting about? And what do we both need to feel safe again? Repairing the connection isn't about being perfect. It's about creating a space where both of you can be imperfect and still be loved. With support, couples can learn to fight less often, repair more quickly, and reconnect more deeply. Because the truth is, triggers aren't the problem. It's what we do with them that matters. When couples learn to identify their triggers, understand the past experiences underneath them, and talk about them with care, the entire dynamic begins to change. And that's exactly what we help couples do at CICC. We offer compassionate, structured, trauma-informed therapy for individuals and couples who want to stop fighting about the same things and start feeling truly heard and supported. If any part of this video resonated with you, please visit us at centericc.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation, because the goal isn't to avoid every trigger. It's to feel strong and connected enough to face them together. Let's help you get there.